Hello, my name is Benjamin Coco, and today I'll be doing a case analysis on Liebeck versus McDonald's Corporation. The McDonald's Restaurant Corporation was founded in 1940 by brothers Maurice and Richard McDonald. The company has been an American staple for many decades ever since 1940. By analyzing their yearly income and revenues, it is safe to say that McDonald's has come a very long way since the 1940s. McDonald's yearly revenues is a lot considering how big the company is. In the United States alone, in the year 2022, the company grossed a very large sum of $9.42 billion. In the countries such as Australia, France, Canada, and the UK combined, their yearly income was about 11.16 billion US dollars in the year 2022. Also, since the year 2005, McDonald's has acquired and started a total of 9,509 restaurants throughout the entire world. This totals to an estimated 40,000 restaurants that McDonald's owns as of about 2 years ago. In the same time span, McDonald's gross profit margins were quite well also. Their maximum was an estimated 57% margin. Their minimum was an estimated 38%. All in all, McDonald's is a very successful business in the world of fast food, but that doesn't come without its drawbacks. In February of 1992, an elderly woman named Stella Liebeck, spilled very hot McDonald's coffee on herself, resulting in very, very serious burns. This resulted with Stella Liebeck enacting a lawsuit upon McDonald's, with her being the plaintiff and, of course, McDonald's being the defendant. Her injuries were very severe, not only because she was elderly, but also because of how hot the coffee was. At first, McDonald's wasn't very sympathetic towards Mrs. Liebeck's situation. They only offered her about $800 of her $20,000 hospital bill. Eventually, though, the case was settled, and it rewarded Mrs. Liebeck with an estimated sum of $660,000. Of the $660,000, about $160,000 was dedicated to compensatory damages for Mrs. Liebeck's hospital bills, and another estimated $500,000 for a penalty to McDonald's business. Liebeck's claim was that McDonald's coffee was way too hot for someone to be drinking. According to the McDonald's that Mrs. Liebeck bought the coffee was routinely served at 190 degrees. Coffee being this hot can cause third-degree burns in an estimated total of 3 seconds, which is not very long considering it spilled all over your lap. She claimed that if the coffee was 30 to 40 degrees cooler, it would never have caused the burns to happen, and she could have got the coffee off of her lap. Many thought this court case was frivolous litigation, but it very well wasn't a useless lawsuit, as a woman's life was at stake. She had third-degree burns, and it never would have happened if the coffee was so hot. Many fast food companies caught wind of the media coverage that was on McDonald's situation, and they took notes on what to do with their businesses so that it wouldn't have the same thing happen to them. Companies like Starbucks didn't really have to change a single thing with their business. Their coffee machines had already been tuned to a reasonable heat of about 150 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, it took around 20 seconds to cause third-degree burns. This was a much more reasonable temperature to serve people fast food coffee. All in all, though, this situation could have been avoided by McDonald's, as cases like this had already happened in the past, with people spilling coffee on themselves and trying to sue. If McDonald's had fixed the problem with their hot coffee before a major lawsuit popped up, it would have saved them a lot of time and money on lawsuits that shouldn't have happened. I personally agree with all the outcomes of the case money-wise. This case, again, was not frivolous litigation or a useless lawsuit. An elderly woman's life was at stake, so it was a very justifiable lawsuit. The punitive and compensatory damages were very fair considering Mrs. Liebeck's health, bills, and also considering McDonald's yearly revenue, which was a very large sum. But in conclusion, a big corporation such as McDonald's should not have that big of a liability sitting out in the open just waiting for someone to sue. Things could have went a lot different for both Liebeck and McDonald's. But in the end, everyone was okay and well, and Mrs. Liebeck recovered from her injuries due to the hot coffee spilling on her lap. So yeah.